Yeah, hi everybody. It's 21st of August, Friday the 21st, and it's late in the evening. It's just after 6:30, and about 2.5 hours ago, the High Court in Dublin finally came out with a preliminary judgment on the Zoe Developments case, and the justice, there was a man called Justice John Cook, and he said that he was going to find in favour of Zoe Developments, that he obviously believes that they have some sort of a potential plan, which means that an examiner can be appointed, and that gives them 100-day, what would you call it, a relief from their creditors. So what that'll mean is 3 months from that's 3 months, and what'll are more, just more than 3 months, and that takes us up, if we sort of work it out, that it's something like September, October, November. That'll take us possibly into the first week of December, and maybe even later, maybe in the middle of December. So it's been timed very, very well. The whole thing is well timed. And what's going to happen is, in the interim, Brian Lenihan is going to put into the Dáil on, I think, the second week in September. He's going to put the legislation before the Dáil in our Parliament here in Ireland, and that'll be passed unless the Greens jump ship. But that's a different kettle of fish. But what's just interesting is, here we are, August 21st. It's gone in favour of Zoe Developments. The NAMA project is sacrosanct. The NAMA project has been saved. Lots of people still in the NAMA project bed. There's the government, obviously, with Brian Lenihan. There's NAMA, Peter Bacon. There's Allied Irish Banks and all the other banks. There's Goodbody stockbrokers. There's the court system, obviously, they're part of it as well. So everybody but the people are singing off that hymn sheet. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make a projection forward from today, based on what we know. Again, what do we know out of history, recent history? And recent history is Goodbody stockbrokers are shouting, and have been shouting from the top of the buildings for the last 2 or 3 weeks. The discount is going to be between 17.5% and 20%. So let's see now. If the NAMA project, which seems very likely, seems very plausible, is going to come into place by the end of September, let's see if indeed they do start buying these toxic assets, which really should have a value of about 33.33% of what, or 25% of what the banks, the amounts that the banks issued. Say if the banks issued 100 monies, the real value today should be around 30 monies. But NAMA is going to give 80 monies for these things. And anyway, so let's see what actually happens. Let's cast forward. It's now August the 21st. I'll just draw your attention to a small article in the business section of the Sunday Independent from August the 16th, last weekend. And it tells you that throughout the world, here we are in the Arab countries, the United Arab Emirates and in Dubai, property prices are down 43%. In America, in some parts of America, in the more salubrious parts of America, such as California and Florida, they're down 80%. Condominiums that were selling 2 years ago for $450,000, which is just over 300,000 euros, are today selling for $84,000 or 64,000 euros. So that'll give you an idea of what's going on around the rest of the world. So why that shouldn't apply in Ireland, which had the biggest property bubble of them all, and it's gone burst, I don't know why. The other thing I'd like to talk about just very, very briefly is what happened to another country. Now, this is the second biggest country in the world, most powerful industrial country in the world at the time, and I think it ranks 4th now. But it's Japan, and they had an almost identical property and equity bubble to what we've had here in Ireland, and it burst in 1990. And I just want to read a very quick little piece here, and it talks about what happened to prices. It says prices were highest in Tokyo's Ginza district in 1989, with choice properties there fetching over 100 million yen, approximately $1 million per square metre, or $93,000 per square foot. Prices were only marginally less in other large business districts of Tokyo. But by 2004, 14 years after the bubble had burst, Prime A property in Tokyo's financial districts had slumped to less than 1%, not 1% of its peak. And Tokyo's residential homes were less than 1/10 of their peak. But they still managed to be listed as some of the most expensive in the world. It says then, only in 2007 had property prices begun to rise. But however, they began to falter and fall again in 2008 due to the financial crisis. Now, this at the time, Japan is the second, their GDP was the second largest in the world. Ours was the 55th in the world when we had our bubble 2 years ago, 18 months ago. And what will happen is prices will stay down for certainly, I personally think, for the next 15 to 20 years. And the reason I think is because I think we are going to go through exactly, it's going to be very painful, very sore, and not very nice. But we are going to go exactly the way that Japan went. We're going to go from a net debtor nation to a net creditor nation. It doesn't look good if you're an economist and you're studying the macroeconomics of Japan GDP and all the rest of it. But the bottom line about it is the Japanese today are one of the biggest creditor nations internally in Japan. They are one of the lowest users of credit cards. They use credit unions rather than banks. And their whole internal economy is a much healthier, I believe, a much healthier and a much more sustainable. Sustainability cannot be built on debt. That is the one thing that we are going to learn as an Irish people.